Alright, man. Sorry, I don't want to stop digging. We'll tell you about this later. So, I was about, I don't know, 8 or 9 years old. And I remember exactly where we were driving. We were driving down this road in our hometown here. I remember the car we were driving. This really stuck in my mind too. We were driving an old, early 70s, it might have even been mid 60s, Dodge Dart Swinger. Cool car. And my parents listened to a lot of NPR while we were there. My dad and I were driving down in this old car, and NPR comes on, and the news is about this new law that just passed in Georgia. How from now on it was going to be mandatory that children be kept in car seats when they're driving. And my dad starts swearing, just cussing up a storm, and my father can swear with alacrity, but he wishes he didn't. Just cussing up a storm. And I look over, and there's my little brother strapped into a car seat. And so I look back at my dad, and once the fury dies down, and I ask him, Dad, what's up? We already use a car seat. This doesn't affect us. And he says, boy, that doesn't matter. They don't have a right to do this, and now the next thing you know, they're going to be passing a law saying full-grown men have to wear seatbelts. Well, wouldn't you know, and you do know because you lived it, how much longer later was it that full-grown men have to wear seatbelts? Now, I don't wear my seatbelt. I refuse. I've paid many a seatbelt ticket. I call it a freedom tax, and every time the state trooper asks me, why aren't you wearing your seatbelt? And I tell them, well, sir, it's none of your government's damn business whether or not I go through the windshield of my car. I have gotten every response imaginable, including one calling for backup. Mariah was in the car with me that time. I think some trainee got out, and he was, he tried to start into his spiel. Some kid, the kid's 18, 19 years old, and he's like, trainee polo shirt, Mr. Austin, why aren't you wearing your seat? Just the condescension and the whole 9 yards. And I told him, because it's not the government's business what I do in my car. And you saw the look on his face, and he kind of went, and he turns and walks back to the car, to the cruiser, and the state trooper comes back with him and stands off back about, 20 feet with his, hand hovering over his pistol, like Andy gave him his bullet or something. Anyway, back to blue. I'm all about good law enforcement, but that's not all of them. Anywho, that being said, I got to thinking about this the other day because we have this stupid car, and I wanted to shoot this video in that car because every time I get in the car, it bings at me, and it won't stop binging at me until I put my damn seatbelt on, and I won't put my seatbelt on. So I did a little research about seatbelt laws, and they're as messed up as you would think. Back in 1968, I think this is attached to Ralph Nader and his whole unsafe at any speed garbage, but I'm not positive. Back in 1968, Congress passes a law that all cars must have seatbelts. And I'd say leave it at that. And there was a bunch of Congress, critters who were like, oh, this is awful, how dare they? Next they're going to be banning smoking. That was literally something someone said. And of course, I was like, oh, the slippery slope. Oh, you're so stupid. That would never happen. We would never do it. Where are we at? Now they're banning smoking. So fast forward to 1980 something. It was 1980 something. Ronald Reagan's in the White House. And the National Highway and Transportation Safety Administration decides they're going to mandate seatbelts. They're going to mandate. They're not going to mandate that people have to wear their seatbelts because back in the 80s people still hadn't surrendered that much. What they said, and a lot of you will remember this, that seatbelts had to have, our cars had to have seatbelts that latched themselves. And y'all remember that seatbelt that would run up the track on the door and belt you in? Well, so the car manufacturers hated that, and the Reagan administration tried to undo the regulation, which should have been their right because NHTSA, the National Highway Safety Booyah, whatever, people are part of the administration, and the president, runs the administration. Well, NHTSA sued the administration, sued itself, and went to the Supreme Court. And out of some bizarre, no one understands what the hell happened, the Supreme Court sided with NHTSA about the seatbelts. But then there was some kind of weirdness in there where it wouldn't take effect if all the 50 states passed seatbelt laws. So the car manufacturers, they hate these seatbelt laws because it's expensive for them and no one likes them. Anywho, so the car manufacturers start lobbying the states real hard. In fact, what I read said that some state legislatures were saying they've never seen lobbying as hard as they saw these car manufacturers lobby for seatbelt laws. And I remember this happening. And it was just like my dad said. Just like my daddy told me. So first they passed the car seat bill. Babies have to be in car seats. And then it was, well, infants have to be buckled. And then it was, 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds. And that, well, you know what, now it's 16-year-olds. And suddenly they're like, well, look, we're just going to pass a seatbelt law. Y'all have to wear seatbelts, but we're not going to be able, they call it a secondary offense. It's going to be a secondary offense. We won't be able to pull you over for it. It's only if you're like speeding, and then we can also get you with seatbelts. Well, it wasn't a couple of years, then it shifted again. Well, now the seatbelt is going to be a primary offense. And I remember this is what they said in Georgia. But it's only so we can pull over drug dealers. That's what they said. They said, people who we have a strong suspicion that they're doing drugs or something, and we don't have anything else to pull them over but their seatbelt, we're going to make seatbelts a primary offense just for that reason and for no other. And then, of course, now they've got their seatbelt law, and they one little click at a time. And we went from, kids in the safety hammocks. There used to be this hammock that you would run from car window to car window, and the baby would sleep in the hammock. And we'd all used to ride in the back of the pickup truck. We'd be begging Dad, can we ride in the back? Can we ride in the back? A bunch of 7 and 8-year-olds, hanging off the back of the pickup truck. We'd go down a dirt road, and we'd all want to get out the back and ski, hold on to the bed of the truck and get pulled behind the truck. So now, full-grown ass man has to wear his seatbelt in his car, or the popo's going to pull him over and lecture him about safety. Now, on one hand, I see how this is a silly thing for me to be so up in arms about. I hate seatbelt laws. The crazy thing is, I'd probably wear my seatbelt if they didn't make me. If they didn't mandate it, I'd probably wear them. Because I've been in a few car wrecks, and I was in one specifically where I thought the seatbelt probably saved me from worse injury. But I refuse. I will not comply. I've driven away from seatbelt tickets without my seatbelt on, because this is how they do it. Oh, do it for the children. Oh, well, do it for the older children. Oh, well, do it for, and now suddenly it's do it because we told you to, boy. You know what I found, oh man, I wish I'd remembered this statistic. Seatbelts prevent about 8% fatalities. 8% fewer. It's some ridiculously low number. When they talk about, when you actually, or maybe it's 8,000. Oh, I can't remember. It's a really silly low number of lives that seatbelts actually save. And it's something like you're 54% less likely versus, 44, whatever the hell it is, more likely to get hurt because of the seatbelt. The difference a seatbelt makes is not quite marginal, but it's still not significant. And this is how they do it. Everyone talks about boiling the frog. Do it for the children. Do it because I told you. It's this really insidious step. We see it with our guns. First it was, well, it's just the National Firearms Act. We're just going to register machine guns. We're just going to register them. Oh, and silencers too, why not? And then, 64, 67, well, we're just going to stamp some letter, some writing on the barrel. And now, now you can't manufacture machine guns. You can only own the ones that are already in circulation. You can't have silencers. They're talking about banning assault rifles. Hey, did y'all hear that the guy that shot the Japanese prime minister used homemade black powder? He didn't have to buy the black powder. I didn't know this until I was just watching Brandon Herrera, and you can make black powder at the grocery store. Yeah, charcoal, potassium sorbate, and sulfur, and apparently it's all right there at the grocery store. I might do a video on that. Anyhow. And the next thing you know, no one's got guns but the whack job with the homemade shotgun. Oh, and the government, of course. So anywho, there you go, man. I was just thinking about that, and how they take away your freedoms. Obviously they're going to go for motorcycles. Religion, they're going to do religion the same way. Well, we just want to know who's out there talking about what. It's not that big. I tell you what, register with us and we'll give you a tax break. How about that? And then you click, 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 and then it's off to the gulag you go because you have a. Anyway, there you go, man. It is the way of the world. It is going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. I probably went too long on this one, and I know no one's going to watch a video about seatbelt laws, and I probably would have spent my time better digging my root cellar, but it was on my mind, and I wanted to share it with you. Thank you, man. We appreciate you.